but without the big microphone.
Oh.
So hopefully the
Yeah.
sound is okay online. I'm not sure how well it'll hear you guys, but don't let that, yeah, don't let that harm anything whatsoever. So how have things been going with meditation and mindfulness?
I've been doing a lot of the breathing.
The breathing, I find
Yeah.
myself doing that a lot
I
as well.
do the breathing. I haven't necessarily done a lot of the mindfulness yet, but a lot of the
Sure.
breathing.
Sure.
So.
And Sandra?
Breathing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good one. The 4-7-8 breathing is very
I
useful.
find you need it often.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
But it does. I find that it does do a pretty good job helping calm down,
Mm-hmm.
or at least the focusing on breath helps. So just going over kind of what we've talked about over the past. Again, mindfulness is really just being in tune with what our thoughts are, what we're seeing in the present moment, rather than trying to think about too much about the past or what might happen in the future. Focusing really on what is happening. So last week we went into loving kindness, which is a meditation that purposefully puts positivity into our thoughts. And we do that by focusing on wishing the best or wishing well for someone else, for ourselves. They can be somebody that, oh, that's fine. Somebody that you don't know very well, a friend, a family member, or somebody that you've never met before that you may have interactions through in some other way. It helps a lot with improving our relationships, dealing with people close or at a distance with patience and compassion. Like with meditation, where we practice on being in the moment, doing loving kindness helps practice the idea of positivity and help our minds get used to doing that positive thought process. So before really kind of going into what we were talking about today, and since we just recapped about positivity, it is important to remember that positive and negative are just they are. They're not good, they're not bad, they just are. It's important that we are aware of them so that we can process those ideas as information. Although we looked primarily at positive last week, we're going to take a look a little bit at negative thoughts today. And one of the interesting things is that the importance of negative thoughts, or the weight of negative thoughts, is that humans are naturally wired to be negative. There's been a lot of studies done on what is called negativity thought bias. And what this means is that if we're presented with two things, one equally positive, one equally negative, humans are going to put far more weight on the thing that is negative. And the reason we do that is we're hardwired to do it through evolutionary processes. Much of our existence, we had to pay attention to things that were negative. The things that were negative, something that was life-threatening, something that would injure us, we had to pay attention to those or we wouldn't survive. And through evolution, we passed those traits down to people, to our descendants, and so on and so forth. Now we have antibiotics, a better medical system. We can often go to the grocery store, if need be the food pantry, and we don't have to worry about our harvest or our hunting carrying us through the winter. We have houses, so we don't have to worry about animal predators hunting us down. We also, in the past, relied on our tribes for survival. We had to have our tribes in order to keep going. So we put those possibly negative thoughts about injury or how our interpersonal relationships are going at a far higher weight, because they used to be life and death. They used to be vitally important to our existence. And this isn't to say that trauma isn't something that strongly affects us. There's a book called What Happened to You, which is co-written by Dr. Bruce Perry and Oprah. which talks about past trauma and how it wires our brains. But for most things, day-to-day use, we don't generally need to dwell on negative thought process. We don't need to dwell on our coworker interactions, the emails, the news necessarily. So basically, this is why news agencies often focus on negative stories, is because they know that will carry more interest and more weight. We can, of course, have 9 things go well in a day, and the thing that keeps us up at night is that one bad thing that happened during the day. We're unfortunately more likely to focus on the negative parts of our friends and family over their positives. A husband leaving their shirt on a chair or a towel on the floor. I don't do that, of course. No. Or a friend forgetting a birthday card, takes precedence over many positive interactions that we've had. We also tend to focus on, we set up a system of others in workplaces or in politics. This other work group is awful because they do X, Y, or Z. The other political party is going to ruin the country because of A, B, or C. And in reality, we're all pretty similar. We're complex beings, but we share many of the same thoughts, concerns with life, both with people that we agree with and that we disagree with. And so what's even more problematic with negative thoughts is that since we have a bias on them, we think about them more, and like we are practicing being conscious of what our thoughts are here. Having routine negative thoughts also train our brains to repeat those negative thoughts. In the same way that we worked with loving kindness last week to practice positive thoughts, our brains are naturally wired to repeat those negative thoughts and train it to continue those negative thoughts. In one study, they talked about how a workplace in which one person frequently complains will inspire other people to complain as well. It's just a pattern of complaint followed by others. We just kind of feed off of that trend towards that process. So since negative thoughts can manipulate our minds so easily, mindfulness with that is incredibly valuable. Mindlessness, letting those thoughts just run, can lead to rumination, a clinical term where negative thoughts are repeated, causing more negative thoughts, which causes distress, anxiety, depression. There's a book called Turtles All the Way Down, written by John Green, that talks about depression, and this quote is, it's like getting sucked into a whirlpool that shrinks and shrinks and shrinks until you're just spinning without moving, stuck inside yourself, stuck inside a prison that is exactly the size of you. You're just stuck in your head. So the process of noticing these negative thoughts is exactly what we practice, being aware of them, not processing them as good or bad, but just being aware of them and taking action, processing that as information. This is not the end-all, be-all of assistance. I would always say, please consult a professional if needed, but it definitely can help. I will say personally, I see a therapist. It is just something that helps me get through, especially the winter months when I've generally had a big issue with that. It can be a huge help. Today we are going to practice our focus through a sound meditation. And so what this is we're going to focus our thoughts on a sound, generally a nature. This is going to be a nature sound. It doesn't have to do with the topic as much, but often just taking a mindful moment during the day can help with lifting our mood. So many meditation apps and services will provide sounds that you can listen to. I also enjoy trying to do this on a walk, especially since we're getting into nicer weather. You can be focusing on everything from a bird chirp, trying to pick out that particular bird. I personally always pick out cardinals for some reason. It's like the only bird I know what they sound like.
Yeah.
And of course, a catbird, when there used to be more of those around the the lake south of Iowa City, and I would hear them frequently. But you can also focus on construction or a machine that's running and trying to figure out like what type of sound it is. Is it a car? What do you think of where they're going? That is it going away? Is it coming close? Just focusing on those sounds. So we're going to start this today, and as I had mentioned previously, this was kind of a perfect storm of not having the equipment the one time that I would have used it to properly route this into the sound. So hopefully this works okay. And so we're going to start off okay. When you're ready, go ahead and close your eyes and get into a comfortable sitting position. Remember to stretch your head up like it's being pulled by a string. Open your lungs for a good full breath. Take a minute to focus on the surface that's supporting you and how it's interacting with our body. Check in with your body and see if there's any discomforts that need to be adjusted before we get into the main part of it. Let's lighten the area around our eyes and our forehead. And ask our shoulders to relax. Okay, and we're going to take a deep breath. And another. And one more. Now we're going to start with our sound to focus on. I won't be speaking as much as I normally do during these. At the start, let's focus on what all the different sounds are that we can hear within the file that's provided here. So take a moment to try and pick out all the different parts that you can hear within it. Now try and pick out one sound that repeats, whether that's a bird call or the water or maybe an insect that you can hear in the background. And just follow it. Does it rise? Does it fall? Does it gain in volume? Or does it stay about the same? Maybe it's going away and gets quieter. Okay, and now that we've focused on that one for a little while, try picking out a different one. And then as we prepare to end for today, let's take a deep breath. And another. And one more. As you feel ready, gently open your eyes. So again, as always, take time to congratulate yourself for taking time for yourself, and for another practice. It's
Thank you.
it's always practice, and we can only continue to improve. Um, so thank you, and thank anybody watching for participating. I don't have any homework for today, like I did in the last ones. Do you have any questions or any thoughts?
You can, there's so many apps
Mm-hmm.
you can get on your phone with.
There are a lot of
names.
apps. Yeah.
I've used it before.
Yeah, I find it interesting.
help.
Yeah, especially trying to pick out individual little sounds
Mhm.
within each one. I loved in this one, there's a little bee or some insect
Mhm.
that starts flying through at some point. And I think it's just that brief bit. I didn't see it again.
Over at Liberty Lake, there's that little waterfall.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great place
Yeah.
to sit.
Yeah.
If you get on the Decorah North Raptor Resource
Yeah.
site in the morning,
Oh,
thousands of birds in
Oh
the
my gosh.
background while you're looking at the eagle. But,
yeah.
because birds are very active in the morning. I tried on the other morning. And, oh my God,
Just
it's like
a ton of
symphony.
sound. Wow.
It's incredible. Yeah.
I haven't watched that website in a long time.
Yeah.
I used to watch it all the time, just have it on. all
Well, the
day.
original one,
Yeah.
the camera isn't, they moved.
The decor.
Mhm.
So you have
The,
to go to Decorah North.
okay, Decorah
Oh,
North.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's an active site with the
Okay.
camera right on it. So
The birds moved in the original?
the original eagles from
Okay, the original
at the
eagles.
hatchery.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's they built a new nest.
Oh, okay.
I don't think they have a camera up yet.
Gotcha.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
I need to nap now.
Yeah.